Is it better to take photos with a camera or a phone? Hi, and welcome to episode 76 of the Photography Explained podcast. I'm your host Rick, and in each episode I will try to explain one photographic thing to you in plain English in less than 10 minutes-ish, without the irrelevant details. Early stumble, they're not good. What I tell you is based on my lifetime of photographic experience and not Google. Before I go on, if you have a question you'd like me to answer, just go to photographyexplainedpodcast.com/start. Here is the answery bit. It is better that you take photos than not take photos. It is not better to take photos with a camera or a phone. It just depends on what you have with you and what you want from the photos. If you're doing a high-end shoot, then fine, use a fancy camera. And if you're on a walk in the park, then fine, use your phone. And for everything else in between, it really does not matter. Enjoying photography is what matters. I'm glad I got that off my chest. There's a few things here that I'm going to share with you that irritate me. The first one is photography snobbery. Yeah, you'll have to forgive me, this is a bit of a rant episode. I have witnessed various acts of photography snobbery over the years. This has been in person, in camera shops, even in podcasts, and of course online. More online than anywhere, obviously, because that's where the bad people go and share their stuff that they wouldn't say to your face. Shame on them. I think they're called trolls, aren't they? I don't know. I've heard people rubbish others for taking photos with phones, completely dismissing this as not being proper photography. I did air quotes then. Are they called air quotes? You can't see that on an audio podcast, obviously. Maybe I should do video. I've heard people... No, I shouldn't, actually. I've heard people say that to be a proper photographer, you have to shoot in manual. Nonsense. I've heard people being rubbish for wearing the camera neck strap that comes with the camera. Why? How could it possibly affect you if somebody else has got a camera and they're using the strap that came with it, that has the camera's name and model on it? What is the problem with that? I've got no idea. But most of all, I've heard phone photography being completely dismissed. And I hate that. I hate snobbery and I hate small-mindedness and people offering petty opinions. Let's get into a few more things that hopefully will help my cause here. Can you take professional photos with a phone? Well, I've already covered that one in the episode titled, Can you take professional photos with a phone? With a phone? Really? Yeah, check it out. It was episode 72 and was particularly splendid, even if I do say so myself. Do you get better photos with a camera than with a phone? Probably, but this is not a given. Well, not anymore. It was, and every year now, it's less and less the case. Is mobile phone photography relevant? Well, of course it is. It is completely valid and relevant. Photography is, after all, drawing with light. Photography is not about having the best camera. It's about taking photos and recording the light. A phone these days is a camera. It just happens to be in a phone. Camera phones are miracles of technology. Phones are miracles of technology. Well, to be fair, to my limited understanding of technical stuff, a camera is a miracle of technology because I haven't got a clue how it gets that stuff onto a sensor. That's beyond my level of understanding and I will never explain it properly. Other websites are available for that. You might not have a camera. Another arrogant assumption made of people who take photos with phones. What if they can't afford a camera? If they can't afford a camera, does that mean they're excluded from the entire wonderful world that is photography? Well, in some people's small-minded eyes, yes, but not mine. It's ridiculous. The camera with you. What's this all about? Well, there is a saying in photography. The camera with you is your best camera. So if it's your phone, then great. If it's your camera, equally great. Now, on a commercial shoot, I will take photos with my phone, of my camera taking photos. I have to be careful saying that. And also of what I'm taking photos of with my phone, so I can publish them immediately. I take photos of my camera taking photos, and I also take photos of what my camera's taking photos of, both with my phone. Does that make sense? This is a perfectly valid use of a phone camera in commercial work. I can't exactly get the photos off my Canon 60 in the press of a button now, can I? And I don't want a second camera, so I have to take photographs of my Canon 60 with another Canon 60 because then it just gets ridiculous, doesn't it? When do you need a camera? Well, I will say this. You can, in general terms, get higher quality images with the camera than you can with a phone. I mean, that's just a fact. Cameras have larger sensors than the cameras in phones, and they're built solely as cameras, and they have higher quality optics and lenses in phones. It's just a fact. We all need to be comfortable with that. Sure, phones have got all that clever computational stuff going on, but that's the bottom line, image quality. So to put it simply, if you need higher quality photos than you can take with a phone, you need a camera. That's it. And if you do not have a camera, Your phone will give you the highest quality images you can capture. When can you use your phone to take photos? Anytime you want, and don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Can anyone tell the difference? This is the thing. Can you tell the difference? I would say in a lot of cases, no, you cannot tell the difference. Think about it. How many of us view photos at 100% magnification or on large prints? Not many of us, I bet. I haven't looked at a print or produced a print or paid for someone to do a print because I don't have a printer for a number of years now. I haven't done a print since my British Institute of Professional Photography portfolio review, where I had my portfolio printed by a professional printer. Nice large photos, I can't remember, 20 by 16s I think. And you could tell that they were taken with a decent quality camera. In fact, thinking about it, some of them were taken with a 12 megapixel Canon 5D, and they were still fine. Yeah, how many of us look at large prints? Not many of us. And I think that people who use phones for all their photography, they probably only look at the phones when they want to view photos. They might look at them on iPads and maybe PC monitors, but they're probably taking photos on the phones and viewing them on the phones. And they look amazing, and that's fine. Sure, the quality won't be as good, but does it really matter? A lot of the time, it doesn't really matter. Remember the difference. Cameras and the phones and cameras are different. You use them in different ways to take photos. Right, that's that lot. The talky bit. I've said this before and I'll say it again here. You can take great photos with a great camera. It's a concern I can't say photos, isn't it? Let's do that again. You can take great photos with a great camera. You can take rubbish photos with a great camera. You can take great photos with a phone. You can take rubbish photos with a phone. Having a great camera doesn't mean great photos. Having a great phone doesn't mean great photos. Having a rubbish camera doesn't mean rubbish photos. The better the camera, the better the chance of getting a better quality image. Okay, how do you take better photos? The number one way to improve your photography, and the number one way for me to improve my photography, is to practice, practice, practice. You're probably sick of hearing me say this by now, but it is still so true. And this is with any camera, any device that can take photos, be it a camera or a phone. If you only have a phone, fine. Your photos are just as valid as the ones I take with a full-frame DSLR and Canon Pro lenses. Practice matters, as does getting the composition and exposure correct. These are the things that matter. These are the things that we all should be focusing on, pun intended. It's not what device you use to take the photos, it is the content of the photo that you created that matters. Okay, this is how I see it. And I'm fortunate enough to have a high quality camera and great lenses and also an iPhone. I use these together. It's not an either or. They're different tools that work together in different ways to help me get the photos I want. Blimey, I feel better now for getting that little lot off my chest. That's been bothering me for some time. I once said on a podcast, I won't say which one, everybody was laughing at somebody they saw. I think it might have been a Canon 60. That might have offended me. They had a camera strap that said Canon 60 on it, and I thought, I've got one of them just because I choose not to use a neck strap anymore. How dare you? It offended me. That's a number of years ago as well, so it stuck with me. Okay, my one-line summary. It is not better taking photos with a camera or a phone. It just depends. It depends on a lot of things. Next episode. Episode 77. I'm getting into the swing of this now. Well, you'd have hoped so, wouldn't you, after 77 episodes? And now we're weekly, it's even better. More on that in a minute. If phone cameras are so good, should you buy a digital camera in 2021? Now, this is an update of the early episode, Do You Need a Camera in 2020? It was something like that. I'm looking forward to that one, which is the natural next thing to do. I've had a bit of trouble with my words today. This episode's come out okay, but this is take 4, because take 1 I just made a mess of. Take 2, I got in a bit of a strop and swore, so I had to delete it. Take 3 was just rubbish. Take 4's been okay so far. Don't want to tempt fate, touching wood. So, if phone cameras are good, should you buy a digital camera in 2021? What do you think? Let me know. Talking of which, going weekly. I hope you're enjoying my weekly output. If you want me to go back to twice a week, give me a shout. Let me know why, and I'll see what I can do. Not that I'm looking for more work to do. I just want to provide what people want. This week's shout out is to the person who asked the first question that I answered all those episodes ago. That is my wonderful wife, Nikki. Shout out to you, babes. Okay, I'm done. Thanks for listening to my small but perfectly formed podcast. it says here. To find out more about my podcast and to do stuff to help me, check out photographyexplainedpodcast.com/start. This episode was brought to you by water. Simple, plain old water. Cheers. I've been Rick McAvoy. Thanks again very much for listening to me and for giving me 12 3/4 minutes again of your valuable time. And I will see you on the next episode. Cheers from me, Rick.